coming up in this episode. At the moment, so yeah, as I said, we've got a not grommets, but hi and welcome back to the channel. Over the next couple of episodes, I'm going to be repairing the corrosion to the front near side chassis rail. And if you've seen the previous episode, you'll know that it's quite corroded. And the thing that brought me to this was the fact that the bumper iron here, as you can see, is very corroded and was pretty much not doing what it should be doing. That is supported the bumper iron. So I took this off to reveal quite a bit of corrosion to the inside and the outside of this chassis rail, and indeed the front part. So I've cut it all out. I've made some repair panels, and it's needed 1, 2, 3 that I've already welded on the inside, and I think I showed in a previous episode. The bottom plate, so that's 4. This front plate, 5, the side plate, 6, the top here, 7, a new bumper iron support, 8, and I'll be reusing part of this, which is the anti-roll bar support. I'll be reusing this part here and welding some of the corrosion, welding in a bit more metal, and reusing this part. So I've done a little bit of work, as I've said already, so I'll show you that now, and then later in the video we'll start welding some of this other material in. Now, it's been a long time since I've done any repairs, and certainly not this sort of repair on a car. I've welded on panels before, but that was when I was used to doing a bit of welding, and it's a bit of a learning curve, to be honest, using the new MIG welder I've got. But these welds are solid, I'll assure you of that. So let's take off the tripod stand and look a bit closer at what I've already done. Okay, let's have a look where we're at and where we're going with this. I've made a few repair panels, as you can see, and we've got the front panel here and this side panel, and also this closing panel to go on the top there. I still need to do a bit more fettling to get them to fit exactly before I weld them in. And this face here should be 332 millimeters from the center line of the chassis, so that we can fit the bumper support bracket, bumper iron support bracket. So yeah, let's see where we've got to. I will be including the welding up of these panels in this episode and the next episode. So I'll show you the full process. And as I say, I'm pretty much an amateur at this game, but I've got some experience of welding, as I've said before. So where have we got to at the moment? So yeah, as I said, we've got to weld on these panels. Just take this one off. And I'll just zoom out a little bit. Now, as you can see, I've already welded this base panel in. I'm using 2mm thick steel to do this. I think it's a little bit thicker than some of the original panels on there, but they seem to vary, as you'd probably expect. But the welding isn't brilliant, and I've welded inside here and on the bottom, so it's really solid. And I've also welded in 2 panels here where the metal was very frilly, and I had to cut it all out and weld 2 new panels in. And also, if I take you off the tripod, there's a panel there that you can just about see down there. It was tricky to get to weld, but again that's solid, and I'll just give them a coat of zinc primer, which I'll do to this one as well. Okay, I've got everything lined up how I want it to be. So what I'm going to do now is just tack this front plate in position, and then remove this side plate here, and then slowly weld it in fully. But as I'm going along, I'll keep trial fitting this panel here just to make sure nothing's warping out of position. Better switch the welder on first, had or not, and the plug. Okay, that is tacked in position now. And let's just see if this part's okay. Yeah, that's fine. So what I'll do now, I'll do this little bit off camera, because I'll weld on the inside and then along the bottom seam and up along the top. And that's the front plate fixed in place. Well, the plan was to film some of the welding, but all didn't go really to plan. I started having a few problems with the settings on the welder, so I had to take a bit of time out just to try and get the settings right. Okay, now I'm going to weld in the final part of this box section of the near side chassis rail. And I've zinc primed the underside here as I have the inside, as I said earlier. And so I'll get it in position now, and then I'll film the welding of this piece in place, and we'll see how we get on from there. So let's have a go. I'll zoom you in a bit so you can see a bit clearer. Okay, so I'm just going to put this into position, and then we can do a few tacks and then weld it in. As I said, I had to remake this part because the original part I made was just slightly too narrow. And this is quite a decent fit. Yeah. So, now I'll get the welder set up and we can have a go at welding this in. Okay, that is well and truly tacked in place. I'll just zoom in a little bit for you. Okay, so now I'm going to carry on and weld this section in, and I'll put it on time lapse for you. Okay, well, I've welded this top section in just to complete this box on the chassis. It's not the best welding in the world, and as I said earlier, I'm still getting used to this MIG welder. It seems that once I get the settings correct, it seems to fluctuate. So whether that's down to me or the welder, yeah, probably down to me. But anyway, it's a good strong weld. I'll show you a bit closer in a minute. So this particular job is the first part of what I'm going to say is a 2 or 3 part restoration of this side of the chassis. So what else is needed on this side? Well, this is the old piece here that was originally there, so I need to make another one of these brackets that the radiator support fixes. Then I need another one of these, which I'll have to fabricate, and that is the bumper iron mount. Now, there's no way I'm going to try and use this and just weld a piece on the top there. I think it needs to be a whole new piece, so that might be an interesting little project. So I'll probably fabricate this as a part in this series. And then we've got the anti-roll bar bracket, as you can see there, and I think I'm going to try and save this by welding some new pieces on here and here and repairing that centre section there. I'll show you this in a bit more detail in the relevant episode. So I'll just grab the camera, take it off the stand, and I'll just show you around here and what the welding's like. As I say, it's been a long time since I've done this, but it's a damn sight better than it was before. So in total there are 7 repair panels to do this job, to replace all the corrosion and metal that just wasn't there anymore. So there's 1 inside there and 2 on this side, which I had to cut out and replace. So there's this front panel here, the bottom under there, this side piece and the top. So that is now all solid metal, and I know I've said this before, the welding isn't the best, but I've got good penetration with it and it's going to last. I certainly hope it'll certainly last my ownership of this car. So yeah, I don't know what you think about the results here. Let's just zoom in a bit if I can. Whoop. There we go. So that's the top. And then we've got the side. So, and then we've got this side here. and the underside, as you can see. And I was having a terrible game with the welder at this point, trying to weld upside down. But I made sure it was solid, and I've welded inside on this one as well, just to give it a little bit more strength. The other thing I've thought about doing is, in this top panel here, is perhaps drilling a hole so I can put in some protection inside there, and then put the grommet back on, put a rubber grommet in rather. If anyone's done this, or I think it's a good idea or a really stupid idea, please comment. But it's something I may do, but I haven't fully decided yet. So I'll put you on the stand and we'll just chat about the next episode. Okay, that just about wraps it up for this episode. As I say, there'll be another couple of parts in this little series about repairing this chassis, and I've just gone through the bits that need refabricating and welding on. What else have I been doing? Well, I've taken off, if you've watched the episodes, the heater box and the blower, and I'll be sort of refurbishing this because I suppose it happens to everyone who tries to take these apart, and there are captive nuts inside here that they're sort of embedded in the Bakelite, and three of them are okay and are still there, but the others have come free, so I need to glue those back in. I've not decided what type of glue to use, but that's what I'm going to have to do. And there's also a slight crack in the Bakelite there, which I'll have to try and fix. But yeah, I'm going to refurbish this and all the internals, and similarly with the heater box. Now, if you want me to do more of this sort of thing, then please say so. I'd love to hear your comments on the work I've done so far and what you'd like to see in future. And as you know, there's, if you've seen the previous episodes, there's quite a bit to do on this car now, and I'm constantly finding new little bits which make me do a bit of a detour around the jobs that should be a priority. But it's all a refurbishment of the Rover P4. There is one other thing I've started to have a look at as well, and that is the windscreen wiper assembly. Now, I thought I'd just take this front panel off, as you can see, and see what sort of state it's in. And it's mucky, but it's functional and it needs lubrication, as does the motor box. But over this side, one of the what do you call them? Not grommets, but bushes, no, rubber supports. It's broken away from the metal, so they need replacing. And I know you can get 4 plus these rubbers here for about £10 from the usual sources. So yeah, that's another thing that's going to be coming up. So that is a wrap up for today's episode. I'm relatively pleased with what I've done, and yeah, I shall see you in the next one. Bye.